I wanted to pretend like we were sneaking a prisoner out of a prison, so I made up a plan for me and Huck to get Jim out. The only terrible problem I had was with Huck. He kept telling me over and over again that we were not planning to escape sensibly. He said our plan would take much too long. Then I kept telling him he did not have any idea what he was talking about, and that I was the one who had read all the adventure books. I told him the greatest prisoners that escape are great because they take so long. One guy took 37 years, and I want to break his record by taking 38 years. But Huck wouldn't let me. That darn Huck can get in the way sometimes, but he's still my best bud. I need to teach him the right ways to adventure. He looks up to me, so I need to be a good role model to him, since he doesn't have a pap anymore.
Well, that's quite a story. What happened as a result of that adventure?
Well, we did eventually get Jim out. But then, when we tried to escape, Uncle Silas and his team of farmers shot me in the calf because they could not just let a slave get away. We then had to hide in the bushes. But that just made the story even better because now I was wounded and looked like a real criminal, just like those in my books. Huck was very upset, though. He told me I needed a doctor. Huck does always care for me, even though it gets in the way sometimes. I also realized just how fun Jim was and why Huck likes him so much. I didn't know a slave could be as smart and fun as Jim was. I was always taught that slaves were dumb and stupid and just made for work. That's the way it is in the South. But Jim and Huck proved me wrong. I want to go back to my town and tell them to free all their slaves because they're real people.
It sounds like your adventure changed you. Did anything else exciting happen to you?
Yeah. The adventure with Huck and Jim changed my views a bit about slaves, but I'm still a great adventurer. Well, what happened next was bad. When we got home from our adventure, Aunt Sally was mad. She realized Huck and I were hiding letters from our Aunt Polly, because if she found out that Sid was at Aunt Sally's, she would know something was up, because only me, Tom, was supposed to travel to Aunt Sally's. As it turns out, Aunt Sally had already told Aunt Polly about Sid, who was really me, and had come down to Pikesville. Aunt Sally got real mad at me and Huck, but I was not worried. Then I told her that it was us who had let Jim free, and she got even more mad. Then it ultimately came out that Jim was already free because his owner, Miss Watson, had set him free. Huck got real mad at me, also because he thought I was stupid to have spent weeks trying to free Jim when he was already a free man. Huck could not believe me and thought I was the dumbest of them all, but I told him that's what an adventure is about. I wanted to go down in the record books, but apparently Huck didn't.
Sounds like everyone was mad at you.
Oh yeah, but it was okay. They know that it's just my nature to be wild and want to have fun and a good adventure.
Do you have any other friends or anything else you want to say?
Huck is my bestest friend, but I don't have a girlfriend because she would probably get in my way. Maybe someday, though, I will rescue a girl and she'll fall in love with me like they do in my books.
Sounds like you have a very imaginative plan for life.
Oh, yes. I know I will go far in this life and be like a hero in a book.
The plot revolves around pre-Civil War attitudes in the Deep South. Huck and Jim travel the Mississippi River in hopes of winning Jim his freedom. Along the way, Huck learns the value of human life. The novel starts out when Pap takes custody of Huck and treats him so poorly that he fakes his death and runs off. After that, Huck meets a runaway slave, Jim, and they travel down the Mississippi River, doing anything to get supplies and food. One day while rafting, Huck and Jim come across two men fleeing from a mob. They call themselves royalty and con people for a living. One day, they reach a town where they decide to have a play. The con people by charging admission for 3 nights and put on a terrible show. On the third night, however, they know they'll get trash thrown at them, so they run off with the money. Eventually, they come across a family with a massive inheritance going to these two brothers. The con artists pretend to be these two brothers. A massive fiasco goes down when Huck secretly reveals them. Eventually, they are unsuccessful in their con and run off without the money. They become desperate and have to sell Jim. Huck is horrified and proceeds to pretend to be Tom Sawyer, for the family he is sold to is Tom's aunt and uncle. Tom Sawyer shows up and pretends to be his own little brother, and he helps Jim escape. As it turns out, all in the end, Jim was free all along, leading you to wonder if it was all for naught.
I think I can understand you, 'cause you're drunk too. I'm Huckleberry Finn's father. And my name's Pap. I'm a righteous crusader of all things good and wholesome.
Beep boop.
I live in a shack down by the river.
Do you have any relatives in the book?
They're all dead, and I wish my son was too.
How would you say that you elected Huckleberry Finn's life?
I'm taking the frills out of him.
What is your level of education?
I never was educated, never will be. I'm doing my best to make sure my son ain't educated neither.
What is your opinion on slavery?
I hate them black folk.
Well, I think our interview here tonight are going to be condescending and a terrible person.
Don't use no big words on me.
Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is set along the Mississippi River, mainly in Missouri and Arkansas around 1840 or pre-Civil War. Go. The book is set in a time period where slavery is still accepted by society and fairly common. It is because society sees slavery as morally right that Huckleberry Finn struggles with himself to help Jim escape to freedom. The majority of characters are simple folk who are uneducated and believe in superstitions. English is the common language throughout the book. However, there are two main dialects of it, the Missouri N-word dialect and the Pike County dialect. Both of these dialects refer to using the N-word to describe African Americans because the 1840s were a different time and the people of that era held different views on race.
Well, shoot, who are you?
Are you the one they call a Huckleberry?
I am.
I need to ask you a few questions, son.
Okay.
What is your name?
Huckleberry Finn.
How old are you?
Well, shoot, I'm about 13 or 14.
Do you normally dress like this?
I always dress like this. It's just so comfortable. I don't even ever change my pants.
What do you do in your free time?
In my free time, I usually hang around with my friend Tom Sawyer, and we play games and pretend to rob people, and I go fishing.
Where do you live?
I live in Mississippi.
What would you say your financial status is, son?
Well, shoot, me and Tom Sawyer are rich. We got all types of money in the bank. We were doing something and the robbers, and we took all the robbers' money.
Do you have any family members?
I got a father. He's not very good to me, though. He beats me all the time.
Who's your favorite NASCAR racer?
Shoot, that would be Dale Earnhardt. Rest in peace, good buddy. We miss you.